What is a pitch shot? Basically, it's a shot from 30 to 50 yards from the green that we're looking to get as close to the flag as possible. But how do we play it? How do we set ourselves up, get the correct strike, and actually get the correct use from this club? Generally with pitch shots, 30 to 50 yards, we don't need a full golf swing. And this is where I see a lot of amateurs that struggle, because what they tend to do is they take their most lofted club and they hit it as hard as they can. The big issue with that is it's not under control. We want the golf ball to be under control. That's so important. So how do we get that golf ball under control? Well, the easiest way to do it is to have a controlled swing. So we're not lashing at the golf ball. So we might want to use a little less loft. So instead of using a lob wedge, we might want to use a gap wedge instead. So something that's got a little bit less loft on it, but it's under control all the time. So we're going to take a little closer look at setup. How do we set ourselves up to hit the pitch shot 50 yards? Really important is we don't need all of this club. The higher up the club we hold it, the less control we have over the club head. So actually with a shot from 50 yards, we don't need to grip it at the top. We can give ourselves a little bit of space and we can grip down on the club, maybe an inch or two down from the top of the club. It's going to give us the feeling of more control over that club face. And club face, remember, is king. We always want to have control over the club face. If we've gripped down on this club, we need to give ourselves space at the point of impact. So we want to make sure that the ball position slightly back of central, okay? So that we're always making sure that we hit down on that golf ball first. That's really important. And the second key point to this is that we put a little bit more weight onto our left side. So maybe if we're stood up to a full shot and we're 50-50, maybe we go 55-45 with a pitch shot. And what this does is it creates a slightly steeper angle for this club, which again is just going to help you get the ball up into the air. So we're going to put this ball position just slightly off center towards your trail side. We're going to get a little bit more weight on your left side than your right. And what's also important is as you look down at that ball, your lead hand should definitely be in front of the ball at your address position. So you're in that position there. Then remember, we're only hitting this ball 50 yards. We don't need to take a full swing at this. So we've got a little bit more weight here, 55-45. We've got our left hand just ahead of that ball, and we've got the ball position slightly towards our right foot. And from there, we only need a wrist hinge swing. We only need to swing to about the wrist hinge, and then from there for our 50-yard shot. So it will look something like this. And you'll notice that that ball straight away lifted in the air and comes down very quickly for around about our 50-yard mark. One of the biggest mistakes that I see in amateur golf is trying to get the ball up in the air. What I mean by that is, especially with pitching, is trying to feel like you're trying to lift the ball up into the air. Because what happens is, as you start to lift that ball, instead of what you think is going to happen is the ball lift up in the air, the way that the golf clubs are designed with the bounce on the club means that the leading edge, so this part of the golf club, as you start to lift your hand, it starts to lift up and we hit the bottom, the middle or the top of the ball, and that's when you see results where the ball goes scooting along the ground. It's really important that we get away from what's called the scooping and feeling like we're trying to get the ball up into the air. We want to get away from scoop and we want to feel like we're hitting down into the turf more. So we're hitting ball, then turf. So we're going to feel like we're doing this motion and we're hitting down through the turf, and that's how we get that loft and that nice height and fly on that ball when we're pitching. Now, part of this control element is making sure that however far we swing that club back is where we take it on the way through. And what that does is it starts to build up consistency in our ball striking and also how far we're hitting that ball. Because when it comes to pitching, we're not just pitching from 30 to 50 yards all the time. We might want to pitch the ball 65 or 70 yards. So that means that we've got to swing that club slightly longer, but the principle remains the same. Whenever we swing back, so if we swing to wrist hinge position, we get through to wrist hinge position. If we're swinging up to a 3/4 swing, we swing through to a 3/4 finish, and so on and so forth. It's important you understand that, because that's going to build up your consistency levels with regards to how far you're hitting that ball each time, but also it will just help you strike the ball consistently better if we're doing the same thing every single time. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in part 9 where we start to look at some chipping. I'll see you there.